Welcome into the first edition of whatever this is. Yes. Our Aggie podcast, our Mountain West podcast. We're going to rename this a Pac-12 podcast pretty soon.
July 1 next year.
What you're looking at right here, well, is obviously David James and Scott Gerard.
Yeah.
But in addition, the two media members who most seriously follow the Mountain West Conference.
That is true. That is true. And I'm really surprised that this is our debut episode. Mm-hmm. 2 days after
San Diego State got smoked in Hawaii.
Wow. Hey, am I supposed to look at the camera or am I supposed to look at you?
I would just look at me.
I'm still trying to figure out the whole TV thing. So.
Yeah, just look at me.
Okay, all right.
I was texting with my cousin who lives in Hawaii during the game, and Rob is a big-time football fan, and he has obsessed about them for a long time. And all I texted him was 2 words.
Can you say them?
As a matter of fact, I can if I can find him. Let's see, it was Saturday. Where is he in here? Oh, here it is. I texted, Uncle, 3 exclamation points, followed by Uncle with about 8 exclamation points. One day we'll have the technology to put that on camera.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, look out, but after I drop my phone. Thank you. And I got back, wowza, and with authority.
Wow.
Well, neither one of us saw that coming.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, I knew going to Hawaii is tricky, and San Diego State's got a defense, and, defense travels is the cliche. Well, swat that cliche out of here. That was useless. They jumped on him early. I am thoroughly confused by this league now, and I just think it really does come down to, are you ready to play, and do you play a good game that day? Because we've got a lot of the whole, comparative score thing. Earlier this year, Fresno went out and beat Hawaii. Hawaii's not unbeatable at home, but Hawaii, for 34 minutes or something like that. That was a good game with Utah State and Hawaii.
Yeah.
Utah State, I think they missed a PAT. They were down at halftime, kicked a field goal in the first possession of the second half. They're up 26-24, and then it's all Hawaii. It's a beating after that, right? But Fresno goes out there and wins. So when San Diego State has to go to Fresno, I'm like, San Diego State shuts them out. Who shuts anybody out in college football? Well, San Diego State 3 times this year. The defense is unreal. And that defense is unreal. And I'm all geared up for a trip to Hawaii. And that defense gets smoked. 30 whatever points. And so it's just like, it's twice this has happened to them. Because Washington State got them earlier this year. Lit San Diego State up.
Yeah.
So they've been blown out twice. They're 7-2, and they've been blown out twice.
So I asked Bronco about this because I said, like, the last time you were in the Mountain West Conference, near the end of that run when Utah went to the Pac-12.
It was the 3 amigos.
Exactly. Yeah. I said, you got 3. I said, I know you couldn't say it at the time, but ultimately your season came down to 2 games. Utah and TCU. That was it. Right. And he's like, 100% right.
Right, yeah.
He goes, the 3 of us had separated, and we knew we were all going to beat all the other teams, and it was just going to come down to 2 games. He said, the distribution of talent now has brought everybody to the mean. Like, everybody is even now.
Is that because the distribution of money in the Mountain West in its current form is pretty even?
Yes, and everybody's getting rated with talent. And so when you get rated with talent, yes, you bring talent in, but you're not sure what you're bringing in.
And you're losing your top-end guys that you know you can count on.
Yes, 100%.
They're taking off for Power 4 programs.
You can't grow and develop and then, have this 2 or 3 year process where, like, all right, 2 years from now, we're going to be really good. No, that's out the window now.
Yeah.
And so you look at a situation where everybody's dealing with the same thing at this level. I mean, for all intents and purposes, everybody's a little bit of a farm team, even Boise and San Diego State. And so you look at now, you have to gear up for each individual year.
That farm team thing, that could have been an insult once upon a time.
No,
but in a world where Oklahoma loses their coach to USC and Notre Dame loses their coach to LSU, and then LSU decides that coach sucks.
And gives them $50
USC
million.
Is a little lukewarm on their guy.
And gives them $50 million not to work.
Yeah, here's 50. Well, they haven't given it to him yet.
I was thinking Penn State was the guy that got. Yeah. Franklin got 49.
There's a whole thing about going back and forth about Kelly getting paid the buyout. He wrote a super nice letter, which appeared to make him be a great guy. And I'm like, and it went public. He knew it was going to be a problem getting paid.
Yeah.
So now he's got lawyers.
Well, you got the governor after you.
Yeah, I know. We digress. So San Diego State and Boise State each have a loss. And then you've got a whole list of teams, 5 of them with 2 losses behind them. There's 7 teams now with legit thinking, hey, these next 3 weeks go the right way and we take care of business, we're going to end up in the conference title game.
Yeah, you've got 7 teams. If Utah State's able to find a win in the final 3 games, and I know they'll be underdogs probably in all 3.
Well, a win is bowl eligible.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying. If they find 1 win, you'll have 7 bowl-eligible teams in the Mountain West Conference. But none of them feel like the big dog of any of them.
No.
Like Utah State could go 0-3 to end the season. They could go 3-0. Like, honestly, they got UNLV on Saturday. It wouldn't surprise me if Utah State went down and won. It wouldn't surprise me if they lost by 20. Nothing surprises me anymore.
Have you checked our you probably haven't because you'll be calling the game, so your time's dedicated. But for someone like me who's supposed to be following all these teams, Saturday at 5 o'clock, the Utes kick off at Baylor. That's a good game.
Yes.
And obviously the Utes have to win to keep their Big 12 title hopes alive, see if things break their way. Also at 5 o'clock, BYU plays UConn, maybe at 5:30. In basketball, number 4 and number 8.
Yeah.
Also, Utah State is kicking off against Vegas. How am I supposed to watch 3 things? And I'm telling you right now, I haven't even looked ahead at the Jazz schedule or the Mammoth schedule. I don't know what they're doing Saturday. I think the Mammoth are home because they've been on the road a lot.
Yeah.
So I think they're probably home. So I think their game wouldn't start until later. But the BYU game starts later. How am I supposed to do this?
DVR.
I have been DVRing. I find DVR very useful to compress games when I'm trying to watch a lot of games and still get something done.
Yeah.
I'm adjusting to not being in a TV studio with 4 games on a Saturday or a Sunday at a time because I've had that for more than 3 decades, and it turns out life is different now.
And highlight packages just magically appear.
I had to edit some of those highlight packages, but it did help me keep track of a lot of games because you had to boil it down right away.
Yeah.
What's really important in this game? And that would help me when I came in on Monday morning. I knew what was important in a lot of games.
I don't know if I'm supposed to admit to this, but there's a lot of people out there that will compress a game into like a 45-minute, just play, cut out all the middle stuff, and you can find those on YouTube. And boy, I can buzz through a Jazz game really quick or a Mammoth game if I'm calling a Utah State game in the middle of it. But there's options.
If my hands are tied and I'm. Yeah. I found David Locke told me a long time ago that when he was in Seattle, the Seahawks would kick off at 1 o'clock Pacific time, and they'd go walk the dog in a routine where he'd get home at like 1:45, 1:30, 1:45, and he'd DVR the game, and then he'd watch it, and he'd speed up, and he'd catch up to it live in the 3rd or 4th quarter. I find that very useful. I find that I can put the phone away, and I can just, if I've got to do something, I know I got that in my back pocket. That is very handy.
Have you ever made
I haven't seen the 45-minute YouTube packages. I've seen a lot of the 10 and 12s.
Oh yeah, no, there's a 45.
For my local teams, I don't feel like that's enough.
Yeah, oh no, you can't do that. You got to get.
But for an NFL game, it's plenty.
Yeah, you need to see. Oh, NFL game for sure, but you need to see every single play.
I know.
Have you ever done the Twitter mistake where you're watching it on delay and you forget and you start tweeting out?
Nope.
Yeah, I've done that a couple times. Like, wow, what a play! Like, and you get all these responses like, "Bro, that was like 20 minutes ago." Like, yeah, oops. I'm really intrigued by this conference, and San Diego State, I fully anticipate will be in the Mountain West Conference championship game.
I don't know that you should anticipate that. They've got to play Boise State here. I mean, one of them's going down and getting a second loss here. Yeah. And who's to say that the team that gets the second loss doesn't end up in the championship game on the tiebreaker and win it? So I won't even rule out the loser of this game. But I think this is far from a foregone conclusion. Well, I'm starting to buy into Bronco. It's just everything's a coin flip. Yeah. Which team shows up that day? I watched that San Diego State-Fresno game in about an hour and a half because I DVR'd it because I can't remember what was on that day, but it was either the Utes or the Cougars or the Aggies or 2 of them. Because I'm like, I just DVR that and watch it later. So I knew, but I was still stunned watching it as it happened. I'm like, dang.
Well, and you go to that Nevada game, Utah State coming off the bye week, coming off a miserable loss against New Mexico, where, look, they'll be fully transparent saying that was a miserable game. Like, for whatever reason, whether it was New Mexico playing up Broncos back into town and hyping it up, and Utah State didn't have the same kind of intensity.
We have Bronco on every Monday, and I thought he really downplayed the hate for him going back. It was very logical. It's a new coach. It's mostly new players, and he knows all the coaches know the numbers on the roster. So that's all true. But the town and the fans, and it's not just winding them up. Oh, it's not a big crowd. They're winding up on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday. You're not going to the store. You're not going out to get something to eat. You're not walking down the street. You're not getting gas without somebody saying something to you.
I thought it was funny, too.
They were wound up.
Jason Eck, the coach at New Mexico, was really building into it.
Yeah,
and really,
I thought that was a load of BS.
And that was I was cracking up with that because it's like, hey, you don't have this job if Bronco doesn't leave.
Thank you.
So if anybody should be happy about it, it should be you. But he's like, oh, they disrespected Albuquerque.
And who might get a job and be gone in a year?
100%, yes.
Right?
Yeah, that dude's stock is.
It's up big time. The league could have, well, the league won't be the league next year. So, but I was going to say, out of these teams, there could be a lot of new coaches. A lot of people could either get jobs or get fired.
Yeah. Are there some?
I mean, Mullen going to be back in Vegas? Again, they're not going to be in the league because they're going to stay in the Mountain West with New Mexico. So whether those two get new jobs.
Is your guy going to be back?
I don't know the answer to that. Early this year, I would have said abso-freaking-lutely. But now I guess I could be wrong.
Yeah.
The problem with a coach who's defensive-minded like him is that people are looking for offense because it puts butts in seats. And so I do think defensive coaches are at a little bit of a disadvantage. I mean, if you win enough, you get a job. And certainly, Bronco's a defensive guy and Kyle's a defensive guy. I mean, we've seen defensive guys flourish. But I just think across time and space, across the industry, offensive people are an advantage over defensive people. But, hey, if he knows someone who's an AD or a booster somewhere because of a previous stop and they want him for that program.
And it's easier to sell as an AD that he's an offensive guy. For whatever reason, it's like, oh, hey, we're going to score a lot of points. We're going to be fast.
Yeah.
Anyway.
San Diego State's not drawing a lick.
So from Utah State playing the way they did against New Mexico, you had the bye week, you got a little bit of healthy. And here's the thing, Nevada, miserable offensively. Probably one of the worst college football offenses I've ever seen.
So once you start scoring, it's over.
Exactly, because the one thing Nevada did have was actually really good defense. You look at their defensive numbers, they were good considering the offense that they had to be working with. Two good edge rushers. Utah State had been miserable giving up sacks and giving up TFLs this year. And, it lined up to be a kind of a defensive showdown just because Nevada's offense was so poor.
Defensive back falls down on the first drive, wide open touchdown.
Biggest play of the game, though, honestly, in my opinion, was the play before that, the 3rd and 8, because Utah State's been stuck in 3rd down and long all season long. And they've been a very explosive team. What they haven't been able to do is convert 3rd downs.
Right.
So it's either they're scoring a touchdown or it's 3 and out. And they hit Brady Boyd on that beautiful pass. Bryson Barnes is under pressure, throws it, quick out. He reaches up, brings the ball in, high points it, and they move the chains. Next play is a touchdown. It's like, okay, now we're clicking. And Utah State clicked after that. Nevada had held Boise State to 23 points, and that was a 13-10 game or a 13-3 game for a long into the fourth quarter. Yeah. So they'd been losing games, but a lot of one-possession games. They hadn't really been blown out.
A 1-point loss, a 2-point loss, and a 3-point loss. Yeah. So how do you get from 1-7 to 4-4? It's like, well, there you go. 3 losses by 6 points.
And then all of a sudden, Utah State puts up a 41-0 halftime.
Yeah. Spectacular.
So, again, back to the thing. You can't predict anything in this conference.
Right. And the pick six just stuck to Hamlin's hand. I couldn't believe he was so close to the quarterback when that ball was thrown that is a ball that's batted down. Yeah. 19 times out of 20.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
29 out of 30? 99 out of 100?
I talked to him in the post game, and I'm thinking, at one point you're up in the air, and you're probably thinking, I'm going to volleyball spike this thing. And he's like, yeah, that was my intent. I just wanted to get a hand on it. And then all of a sudden, everything slowed down, and I kind of felt my hands around it, and I'm like, I think I can intercept this. I think I can catch this. And he brings it. Kid's a great guy. He's from Syracuse High School. Yeah. And reels it in, and then he's like, okay, I can't have anybody catch me. If somebody catches me from behind, I'm going to hear about it. He goes, I was running into that end zone as fast as I could, not because I wanted to score, because I knew film room on Monday would be miserable if I got caught from behind.
He didn't even come close to getting caught.
I know.
But he didn't know that.
He didn't know it, yeah.
He is from Syracuse, but he's also from Utah Tech.
Yes.
And I think that this is probably too easy for me in podcast, radio, TV world, as opposed to coaching out in the real world. But I do wonder now, coaches who are aligned, who like to play the same way, who are at different levels, how do they spot each other and treat it like a farm system and pass people up and down? Because it's going to happen anyway. Mm-hmm. So at least make it work to your advantage. And you got to find people who play the same way, because a guy can get used one way in one scheme and then it doesn't translate to another scheme. And I've honestly learned a lot about that, learning about covering RSL and learning about soccer. And that Jason Christ came in and is like, all you people have to stop. This isn't about winning. It's about player development. So the 16, U16, the U18, the Monarchs and RSL all have to play the same way. All have the same rules, right? So does someone in the Big Sky, someone in the Pac-12 in the Mountain West, someone in the Big 12, like, we all coach the same, but coaches aren't staying in jobs long enough, so I just don't know that it works. But in, like, at least move them up and down in the system and have a little more certainty and be able to go to a kid and, like, don't go over there for a few more bucks. Go here, because Bronco's very good about pointing this out. He's pointed this out on our show when we have him on every week. He says, you move up, your snaps go down.
Oh, yeah.
Your money goes up because you get fewer snaps. Now you have fewer film, and you either want to move up again your senior year or you want to go to the NFL. And he was saying that Miles Davis, running back, he's like, the number of carries he was getting at BYU was so low. The number of carries he's getting at Utah State are so high. NFL people know there's NFL players in this league. Now he can show what he can do. He gets more carries, more chances, more opportunity. Mm-hmm. And so who moves up and who moves down is super interesting, and how they pick their spots and why they do it.
Well, I think you've hit on it in terms of identifying a program. Yeah. You know, like, find yourself a new BYU to Ricks, you know, where, look, you bring a guy in, you recruit him, you think he's doing well, and for whatever reasons it's not panning out, you say, hey, look, you're not going to break this roster, but we have a program up here in Pocatello, or we got a program down at Ephraim. You know, we got a program here. We can send you there. You're going to get a lot of looks, and you're going to get some opportunities that you're not going to get here. So you can send them down, and then also somebody down there is like, hey, look, we understand you're going to hit the portal. This is a place where you're going to get a little bit of money, and you're going to get some great opportunities.
Do you know Steve Johnson at Utah Tech? He's a PR guy.
I do not.
And he interned for me a bazillion years ago.
Okay.
And so I still talk to him, and I'm like, what is the deal? I keep waiting for – I know you hired a good coach, right? I mean, he's at Stanford, and Anderson's a good coach. I know you hired a good coach, and when you take off, he goes, well, maybe if our best D lineman wasn't at CSU and our best tight end wasn't at San Jose and our best – and he listed like a half dozen guys who transferred just off the top of his head. He didn't miss a beat, you know? And it's like – and that goes back to your point about, so somebody's got to go into Utah Tech and build a program. Well, you can't, because you don't get anybody good for 2 or 3 years to build on. They're just gone.
Yeah.
And so at what point does he, build a relationship with BYU and Utah and say, hey, you need to open up a roster spot. I can get a kid playing time. And I think especially for the local kids. Yeah. That's why bringing up Hamlin, who's a Syracuse kid. So if you are a kid here and you want to play at BYU or Utah and they don't take you, can you get in at Utah State? And if you want to play at Utah State, can you get in at Weber State or SUU or Utah Tech and kind of work it a little bit?
I think it's smart.
We have a lot of teams in a close span here, and you don't really see that in the West.
No.
And
in the East, you see it everywhere.
Everything in the East is an hour and a half apart.
Yeah.
It's nonstop. And we're seeing kids fly all over the place. It's really intriguing how recruiting works, where everybody is running a junior college program.
Oh,
it's all one and done.
Yep.
Like up to Calipari at Arkansas now, but at Kentucky before. I mean, he was running it with not JC caliber players. He was running with
NBA
lottery
players.
picks, future lottery picks, but it was all one and done and rebuilt the roster the next year. And now almost everybody's doing that. And the people who aren't doing that, Clemson, are 4 and 5. So you have to do it. Maybe Ohio State at the top of the food chain, but it's just not really the way you get to do it anymore.
So I think that's ultimately what's going to allow teams to separate at this level, because you're looking at a team look at Washington State, just miserable. And Oregon State's got their issues as well, because they're trying to figure out, wait a minute, we had all these resources before, things were great. What's going on here? All of our players are leaving and we can't find anybody. Well, guess what? You got to think like a G5 player now, or a G5 team. And it changes your mentality. And they'll get somebody in there and they'll figure it out and they'll be okay. But right now they don't know.
It's too much change all at once.
It's like this. Yeah. It's like, when you've been married for 20 years and then you get divorced and you're like, so what's this Tinder thing? What am I supposed to be doing here? I don't know. This is a new world for me. Yeah. Come on. I don't know. See, all good.
You're killing me, Scotty. It's such a random Scotty G reference in the middle of everything. So, UNLV, do you believe? I mean, it's all cool to sit here and say 3 wins and the Aggies are in the conference title game, but
you look at
they're 0-4 on the road.
You look at that, and that's the problem. 5-0 at home, 4-0 or 0-4 on the road, and you've got 2 road games against Fresno, UNLV, and the home game is Boise State, which I don't care how good or how bad Boise State is. There's those teams that just get in your head. And you could have different players, different coaches, But Boise, for whatever reason, is in Utah State's head.
Best reason to have 70 players turnover is those guys don't know.
Yeah.
They weren't here for it.
And so that's
What was the final number on turnover? What for Bronco? Do you know what it was?
Well, Bronco said 78, but that included missionaries.
Okay.
So I think the number is probably in the high 60s.
Okay.
But this is a much different team that's led by a really good quarterback. And Bryson Barnes, had he had a really good or even a solid offensive line in front of him, he'd be in the running for Mountain West Conference Player of the Year. And Utah State would have a couple more wins. That's how good of a level he's playing right now. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, the offensive line, he's been sacked 28 times on the year. Although, Nevada, first game of the year, no sacks. And only 2 TFLs. And I don't know if that had to do more with Nevada than Utah State's offensive line. They've moved some people around to try to help out there, but that offensive line has had a really rough year. And Bryson Barnes not only sacked 28 times, but if you look at the amount of hits that he's taken, where he's gotten rid of the ball, but just obliterated after throws, I don't know how that guy's standing up.
I'm obviously not close enough to the UNLV program to know this, and I 100% agree with you about Bryson Barnes has taken way too many hits. And honestly, some of that's on him. I mean,
no. And he's admitted that. Yeah.
He does look for contact at the end of runs when you prefer just get down or get out of bounds. But UNLV scores this year are all close, high-scoring games. They are playing wild games. I don't think this is a defense that's going to hit him a lot. I don't know if it's defense that's going to hit anybody a lot.
Yeah. Well, that would be very, very opportunistic for Utah State. Now you just say, all right, defense, can you get some stops? And I think probably what they do from a defensive standpoint, and I know BYU fans will kind of roll their eyes because they remember this with Nick Howell at BYU, there is a certain element of we will concede yards, we will concede first downs, we will concede field goals. But our hope is on your 12-play, 14, 15-play drive, you're going to make a mistake.
Penalty, sack,
and you're going to have penalties,
yeah.
a turnover, or we're going to force a field goal and we'll get a touchdown on the other end. And with this defense, with the personnel that he has now, that's probably the best route to take. Now, they're not going to admit that publicly, like, oh, yeah, we're going to be a bend but not break defense. But you watch a game, you can feel that there's going to be elements of like, okay, you know what? We'll keep everything in front of us. We feel like when the field starts to shrink, you're going to make a mistake and you're going to have to kick a field goal or we're going to get a turnover. Somewhere along the way, you're going to make a mistake and we're going to capitalize on that.
And they're going to need touchdowns to beat Utah State from the UNLV offensive perspective because they give up big plays and Utah State's very proficient at creating big plays.
Yeah, they're 11 50-yard plays on the season. I think they're ranked 3rd in the country. Here's
some numbers for you. Now, last week, the last game was CSU, who's already had the coaching change. They're a mess.
Yeah.
Right? And so Vegas wins 42-10. So set that aside because Utah State is not a mess and they have not had a coaching change. But the week before that, Vegas lost to New Mexico 40-35. The week before that, they lost to Boise State 56-31. The week before that, they beat Air Force 51-48. Scotty, it's going to be arena football.
Yeah. I
mean,
don't know.
The Aggies are going to score 40. If you told me 40, I would take over.
Oh, yeah. We record this on a Monday. Mm-hmm. I have not seen the line. I think UNLV is a 4.5-point favorite, but I've not seen what the over-under line is. I would say 68.5.
69.5. So you're advising people to take the under?
No. Entertainment purposes only, folks.
UNLV is a 5.5-point favorite.
Oh, okay.
And they are the home team, and the home team gets 3 points.
Yeah.
So it feels like who has the football last game or who makes a couple big gaffes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but if it was, all right, 69.5, do you take the over?
15 or 20 in an NBA game in the second quarter, well, there's a lot of time. There's a lot of possessions. Calm down. Yeah. Do the right thing. And do the right thing again. Do the right thing again. You'll go on a little 12-0 run, and you'll be right back in the game. And I think that anybody who gets down, I feel like in college football, when you're down 2 scores, you're still right in the game. The third score to me is always when it's like, okay, this is getting out of hand.
Yeah.
And at 2 scores, I mean, BYU was down 13-0 at halftime. They hadn't done anything, but it's like, one big play, they're right in the game, the pressure cracks, 2 scores, you got a chance. Yeah. When it goes to 3, when Utah beat USC at home in that crazy 43-42 game, they were down big. They were down 2 touchdowns multiple times, but they never got down 3 scores.
Yeah.
And I would say that for Utah State and UNLV both. Well, I think they both are going to go into this game thinking we're going to score, and if you get down 10-0 or 17-7, there's a long way to go. Now, the gaffe in the fourth quarter that puts you down 10 or 14 is a problem because now you only have so many possessions, and can you get a stop and get back in it?
It just, and I go back to that Nevada game when Utah State scored the 2 touchdowns. They were 14-0, and then they kicked a field goal. And they go up 17. You're right. It felt like
the third score felt
like here we go.
difference.
Even though it was only 3,
and you didn't have long to contemplate that before they threw the pick 6. It
Yeah,
was
I know.
24,
And then it's like,
then you,
all right.
Oh, it's definitely over now.
Now it's
yeah.
And by the way, as a broadcaster, you called a lot of games. When it's 41-0 at halftime, and we're having a good time, but 41-0 at halftime, there's a lot of tap dancing.
Big time.
Yeah.
You can't. Every play isn't important.
Yeah.
But when it's a 3-point game and it's 2nd and 8, whether you pick up 5 yards or on the next play is a big deal. Make third down manageable. 41-0, who cares?
I know.
And the worst part is like all your preparation is directed at the starters, and it's just like, okay, is Bronco going to clear the bench at halftime? Is he going to clear it after, if they get one more score? Is he going to clear it middle of the third quarter? And I think they went stop, touchdown, clear the bench.
Yep. And that's always kind of the MO.
Coming.
You know, you get the stop, and then first offensive touchdown, you go down and drive. And you probably tell the guys that at halftime, like, hey, you go down, you score.
No matter when you're losing a game, I think coaches always go into halftime, we're still in this. Any lead that can be built in 30 minutes can be taken back in 30 minutes. But now the league's bigger, and you only got 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like, can't be taken back now. So you got to, even if you don't buy, you got to sell the cliche.
Yeah.
All right, they could take this back. No, they couldn't. Well, got to kind of toe the line. I'm the one who drew the line in the sand. I better live up to it.
There's an infamous Utah State BYU game where I think Mick Dennehy was the coach, and Utah State is up.
There's 2 of them, and this is going to be the Engelman game.
The 34-7 at halftime.
Yeah.
Utah State is up.
Yeah.
And they lose that game 35-34. And the message at halftime was, we got them. And, get that score, and you can sit back and enjoy. And Utah and BYU goes boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know if you were going to go to that or that 58-56 game. That was pretty wild.
Yeah, no, that was crazy.
That was legendary.
Yeah, I was still in high school in that game.
You were?
Yeah, I was not there in the stands for that one.
I was anchoring that day. I didn't. That was up in Logan.
Yes.
And that
Anthony
day,
Calvillo.
So that while Utah State was winning 58-56, Jamal Anderson in Utah beat Marshall Falk and San Diego State 45-41 in a game that had 3 touchdowns in like the last 4 minutes, including a game with 10 seconds left. And at the same time, Weber State beat SUU 43-39.
Wow.
And they were all day games. And
See, this is the memory of our guy here.
I don't remember anything else about that season, but I will always remember that day. Those 3 games, 6 defenses, all got shredded. They all got shredded. But all the fans were left just screaming for 3 hours. It was either, yeah, no, all day long.
I'll never forget seeing that score on that game. And I had some high school thing, and I remember showing a buddy, like, Utah State just beat BYU.
Yeah.
He was a huge BYU guy. He's like,
and in that era, Utah State beat BYU once every 15 years.
Yeah. And people still couldn't figure that out. 58-56, what?
It was crazy.
But this UNLV game's huge. If you had to look at a game for Utah State that they would feel more comfortable about winning, it's probably the Fresno game. But even that's at Fresno. But the problem is, back to what you said, they could go 0-2 and beat Boise. Wouldn't surprise me.
How you show up that day.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a cliche, but I think that's the cliche that's true this year. The problem with cliches is we say them all the time. And cliches, we start saying them all the time because they happen a lot of the time.
Yes.
But they don't happen all the time. It's not a 100% deal. Cliches rest on 80 or 90% deals. Where are the outliers? And this year, the outlier in the Mountain West really is true that on any given Saturday or Friday, how do you show up? If you don't show up with your A game, you could be in trouble.
Yeah.
There's no way to explain why Hawaii torched a San Diego State defense that shut out Fresno at Fresno when Fresno's the only team that's gone to Hawaii and won. I mean, the triangle of those 3 games is ridiculous.
Hey, by the way, before we wrap up, shout out to Jared Calhoun and that basketball team.
Yep.
By the way, how about this for travel? I've had, and this was actually not that bad. But I always love crazy travel. And to me, it's just like, everybody's like, how do you know, that's got to wear on you. And it does, but it's fun. Like, to be able to fly to Dallas, call a game, take a 6 a.m., back to Salt Lake, drive to Logan in time to make sure you can call a football game. I mean, that's awesome. I think that's so much fun. But that basketball team, VCU is a really good team. Picked to finish first in the A-10. And Utah State had complete control of that game. Up by 18 with like 7 to 8 minutes left.
Another NCAA tournament team?
Yeah, I would. I think when it's all said and done, this is a quad one victory. Neutral site in Dallas. And Utah State up by 18. They're up, I want to say, 11 with about 3.5 minutes left. And look, they got a lot of youth, a lot of inexperience on that team. Drake Allen, I want this to be the Drake Allen appreciation show, or at least segment, because I thought Drake Allen played a incredibly great game. But there were 2 mistakes that happened down the stretch. He missed a dunk, and he turned the ball over, which immediately was given up. VCU turned into a layup, which tied the game up at 74 with about 38 seconds left. I am so glad Utah State won that game, because I did not want Drake Allen
on his shoulders
to feel that, because he had played remarkable. Because VCU, you know how VCU is. They want to get up. They want to force turnovers. So much pressure on your point guard, and he handled it beautifully for the majority of the game. Just one little slip up, but I think Drake Allen is playing the best basketball at anybody on that team right now.
I was looking at football-basketball overlaps later this month. Don't you have a Tulane on a Friday, back for a game on a Saturday?
Okay, I tried to pull this off. And by the way, if anybody out there is in tight with the airlines, there's a game this weekend I can't do. I will be doing UNLV and the UTEP, and they're like an hour apart from each other. So I won't be doing the basketball game against UTEP, but I will be doing the football game. But 2 weeks from now, they're in Charleston, so they've got a game on Friday, basketball, and then football Saturday at Fresno, and then Sunday they'll play the second game of that MTE. And so Charleston and Fresno, I can't find any flights to make it work. And I would do anything. I would spend anything, because it's not my money. But I would spend anything. I even talked to one of the boosters.
I was about to say, what about a booster on a private jet?
And he's like, I'm taking the jet. We're going to Bermuda that week. I was like, that's the 1% right there. Love you, Nick. You're the man. Don't go to Bermuda. Come to Fresno with me. Anyway.
Oh, okay. There's a trade most people aren't willing to make.
I know, right?
Let's see, a list of people who would do that. Steve Cleveland.
Yeah.
He loves Fresno. He's got deep roots there.
So if anybody sees any commercial flights that can get me from Charleston to Fresno, back to Charleston, I will do it.
Is there a major airport that you could drive to instead of trying to do a connection out of Charleston? I don't know. I don't know my geography there.
I tried really hard a few weeks ago, and now I've already kind of moved on from it. Okay. But I would love to make it happen.
All right. You want to pick any football games this weekend?
Yeah, hit me.
Why don't you start with Utah State's going to beat Nevada, right?
Oh, you mean UNLV?
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just looking at Nevada, San Jose State.
I think this podcast would end very quickly if I took UNLV.
Does Sparty go into Reno and win?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, by 2 touchdowns.
CSU at New Mexico. New Mexico rolls, right?
Oh, yeah.
CSU's giving up.
Why can't CSU figure things out? I actually thought with that coach.
I thought they were.
I thought they nailed that one. And they've got all the money in the world, brand new stadium.
They built the stadium, but Sonny Lubick ain't walking through that door.
No, and it just, for whatever, like, that seems to be such a sleeping giant there.
Wyoming at Fresno?
Fresno.
Boise State at San Diego State. I thought that game was in Boise. I don't know why I thought that. Boise State's at San Diego State. San Diego State's a 2.5-point favorite.
I'm going to go Boise State.
Okay. Air Force at UConn. UConn has beaten a couple of ACC teams this year. It's about time UConn gets. There's a lot of players in the Northeast.
So
find some.
Jim Morris' first game, they played at Utah State, and Utah State was favored by like 35. It was coming off that championship year, and UConn went toe to toe with them. And Utah State ended up winning, but barely. And then the next year, they're at UConn, and they need a blocked extra point at the end of the game to beat UConn. And at that point, you felt like, this thing might be turning. He might have figured it out. Jim Mora, look, NFL coach, and he's got those guys playing. So, by the way,
cut over Air Force.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. There are the games.
By the way, this is me speculating.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see a change, not purposely. I think you're going to see a new head coach at Air Force next year.
Really? The Calhoun era is coming to a close?
I think so, and that's just me speculating.
Okay.
Don't know anything.
Wow.
But they've got a really good offensive coordinator, Mike Thiessen, that I think has been wooed by a lot of people, and he needs that. He needs that job.
So maybe Hawaii is the team then in the Mountain West next year. If Air Force and UNLV and New Mexico all change.
Yeah, that could be.
I'll change coaches. We'll be doing a Pac-12 show then, though. So
let's do it. Yeah.
All right, David James, Scott Gerard, talking Aggies, talking Mountain West every week. We'll see you again next week.